Ladies and gentlemen, Alan Shoemaker.
It's such a broad subject, shamanism. So there's so many aspects, and I've been doing this for 19 years, so there's a few things that are more important to me than others, and those are the ones that I will focus on when I'm talking to you.
Yeah.
One is when I first left the United States 19 years ago. I came down by land through Mexico, Central America, and I got to Quito, Ecuador. And I discovered their shaman. He was also a neurosurgeon and psychiatrist from Vienna, Austria, Valentin Hampes. And I called Valentin up, and he invited me to his house and then to ceremonies, and then I began working with him. He was working with San Pedro. And it was nice to have a first teacher that he knew when to use Occidental medicine and when to use shamanism. He knew when a patient came in when to give them penicillin or when to give them cat's claw, unitigato, or chuchuase. As well, he was very much into cleaning the physical, emotional, and spiritual body. The cleansing you get from drinking San Pedro, physically, you're going to purge. Normally you purge. The following morning, he uses tobacco juice in your nose, which you lay down and it gets injected into your nostrils, and that burns just a little bit. And then you stand up and drink a big cup of Wayusa tea, and hopefully this will produce vomiting. And if it doesn't, then you have to figure out a way to do that, whether it's stick your finger down your throat or find your own technique. And my technique that I discovered, which is still with me today, is that if I cough really, really deeply, it starts the vomiting process.
Okay.
That's good and that's bad, because now when I get a cold or I get congestion and I start to cough and have a really deep cough, I go, oh no, I'm going to throw up.
I kind of know.
So, and then we finish that off with stinging nettles. So you take your clothes off, you get sprayed with an alcohol-based solution and flowers, and you stretch out and you get these stinging nettles and you get lashed all over your body. So what this does is you have a lot of toxins that you build up in your system. You have pores that release these toxins, but there are a lot of spaces in between the pores where you need to have those cleaned. So you get cleaned this way.
Is it, like acupuncture?
Yeah, but
okay.
Stinging nettles, you get like a million little points.
Okay.
And you're red all over your body when you're finished. So when you get done, you take the stinging nettles and you wrap them like into a towel, and you will rub whatever portion of your body you sense needs some extra help, whether that be your knees, arthritis problems in joints, or liver, heart, lungs, whatever it may be. And then you wash there, and then you're like, after the ceremony of seeing a lot of visuals, and sometimes visions, a lot of times hallucinations. And this cleansing you've gotten from the tobacco juice, because when you finish doing this, it cleans your sinuses out. It drops down your sinus cavities, and you tip your head back into your sinus cavity up here. And so when you've done this 3 or 4 times, when you speak, it's as if you've heard your voice for the first time. It's like crystal clear, like a bell. There's no phlegm whatsoever. And the idea, with Valentin's type of shamanism, and I carried this with me as well, is that a lot of diseases that we get are coming from excess phlegm. And the excess phlegm comes from your body wrapping your insides of your body, wrapping this phlegm around things, secreting this phlegm around things that you shouldn't have put in your body in the first place. So that phlegm will settle in one place or the other, and then it will turn into like a fibrous mass. It can turn into cancer, turn into a bad cold, a lot of other things too. But I worked with Valentin for a long time, and I kept looking at a map, and every time I saw this map, it was like, it's go to Iquitos, go to Iquitos. And so finally I decided, okay, I told Valentin I'm leaving and he could come with me. And at first he decided to come, and then later he says, Alan, I can't go. Look, I have family here. I have people I'm taking care of. I can't just leave, and it's dangerous. I said, what's so dangerous about it? He said, well, there's whirlpools in the river, and you're going to be in a canoe, and these whirlpools can get you, and you can't get out. I mean, they suck in entire islands. And I know the story, and I've seen them on National Geographic shows. But the 2,500 kilometers I went down the Putumayo River and up the Guadaparana, I didn't see any whirlpools, but I know they're there. So I headed back up to Colombia and to Puerto Asís and got a dugout canoe, and that took about a week. And I had a balcony apartment, and I'm in this small town with dirt roads and people coming up on motorcycles and parking them, just as if the 1800s it could have been a horse, but it was a motorcycle. And you go and sit in the bar and you drink your beer or aguardiente, whatever it is. And up in my balcony, I watched shootouts with guns. It's a real narco traffic town. And I would be in a bar having a beer, and the guy would walk up and sit down with me and invite me to a beer, and he would say, when you get back, you can sell this cocaine for us.
Oh.
And so you don't want to offend them, because they're working. It's a very dangerous place. This is where the FARC is, and the coca traffic people. So I just said, well, look, I can't carry that stuff. They said, no, you don't carry it. We have it already in warehouses in the States. We'll deliver to you. Just give me your address.
Wow.
So anyway.
Well organized.
So incredible stories. I went down the Putumayo. I stopped at one village, a Siona tribe, and it was probably about 9:30, 10 o'clock in the morning. And this indigenous man came to me and he said, can I help you? What are you doing? I said, well, I want to see your curandero, your shaman, your ayahuasquero. He said, oh, well, he's drunk. I said,
9 o'clock in the morning?
yeah. I said, well, I don't really care. He said, oh, you don't care? I said, no. I said, okay. So he takes me to his house, and he agreed that he would have a ceremony for us that evening. I was with a friend. And I said, please, we're gringos, but so don't think that we're weak. We need really strong doses, and we're used to LSD and things like that. We have a history, so it's just the opposite of what you might believe would be. So he said, oh, don't worry, I'll make really good stuff. So come back at my house at 7 o'clock. Now, when I was working with Valentin, his idea of the diet was that you get to his house at 8 o'clock in the morning, and you drink nothing but Wayusa tea, sit around and listen to some really beautiful music, a lot of Krishna music, and you drink the tea all day until about 7, 8 o'clock at night. He has an altar there with candles on it and flowers, and there's every god known to man probably represented on that table as well as on the walls. And at about 7 or 8 o'clock, Valentin turns the music off and he stands up and he smokes his mapacho pipe and he blows the smoke to the north, south, east, and west, and to the heaven, and to hell, and to the earth, and prays. And he prays for like 3 hours, and we're waiting. And around 11 o'clock, he says, okay, and he starts handing these other little drinks out. And it's tobacco juice.
Oh.
So he gives me mine, and I would always say, okay, this is always a joke. I say, okay, Valentin, give me my glass, open the door, and get out of the way. So you take the glass, shoot it down, go outside into his front yard, and then you're going to purge that. So it's going to relieve the contents of your stomach. So you're ready to receive the San Pedro completely clean stomach. It takes about a half an hour for that to get ready, and then you drink the San Pedro. So I get to the Siona's man's house at 7 o'clock, and I've been dieting all day, drinking water. And he's eating a big bowl of chicken soup with a big slab of chicken in it. And he's in the middle of nowhere. He doesn't know anything about the diets and things that you see down in Iquitos and Pucallpa and all the rest of the areas. I said, you can eat before ceremony? He goes, well, of course you can eat. Are you hungry, aren't you? I said, yeah, I'm very hungry. I haven't eaten all day. He said, well, then have some chicken soup. I said, okay, great. So I ate a bowl of soup with a big slab of chicken. He says, how's that? That's great. He says, okay, you're ready now. You need some energy to go into the ceremony. Yeah, great. So we walk out into the jungle where he has a little tumble thatch roof hut, no walls, dirt floors, and some benches around. And there's about 15 tribal people coming there too, and he hands out his ayahuasca, still warm. And that was my first ayahuasca.
Okay.
The other times was San Pedro. And after 40 minutes, I didn't feel anything, but I could see the other people walking around, stumbling, throwing up, and I didn't feel a thing. So the curandero, this old man, he pulls the mosquito net up from his hammock and he says, come to me. And I go over there and he goes, you have a block.
Okay.
Drink another cup. So, okay, I drink another cup, sit down, don't feel anything. And about 25 minutes later, so this Colombian man asked me a question. And in order to respond, I had to clear my throat. And when I did that, this volcano, this geyser erupted in my stomach. And it was so forceful that I was going to projectile vomit all over everybody in the ceremony. So I threw both my hands on my mouth and ran out into the jungle. It was coming up so forceful, it was spraying in between my fingers like squirt guns. Oh. And so I ran maybe 30 yards away into the jungle. And I projectile vomited 4 or 5 times. And the last time I was like, oh, okay, that's it? Yeah, so, well, okay. But then I started to raise up and I saw these lights around me and I thought that the people had come out with flashlights to see if I'm okay. So I wanted to put a good expression on my face, let them know that I'm all right. So, okay, so I raised up. And then I saw that in the small bushes around me were children. The larger bushes were like juveniles. The two trees here, maybe 30, 40 feet tall, they were about 30 years old. There was a man and a woman all around me. And the size of the bush was the size of the spirit. I was seeing spirits, and they were glowing from the inside out. It was not like an LSD experience. I think I see a face in that tree. They were full-on visual, full-on. But still, I'm under the influence of ayahuasca. So this is, something I hadn't had before, and I was like, wow, this is incredible. This is like nothing I've ever seen in my life. And I looked, and they all had robes on in a checkered pattern, lime green, cream, and white. And I looked and I thought, it's really funny because my mind has actually put little Nehru collars on these robes. And it was strange that I was fascinated the way my mind would work, because obviously I'm hallucinating. I've got to be hallucinating. But I'm standing there, and they put their arms out to me, the children too, and these elders, long hair and headbands and armbands. And wow, they're moving. And then they start singing, and I've got the soprano and alto and the bass and tenor voices singing in harmony my name over and over again. And I've stood there in this semicircle of my vision and listened to this for 15 minutes.
Wow.
And it's the most beautiful thing. I had tears running down my face from the sheer awe and the beauty of this.
What a nice experience.
Incredible. But still, am I hallucination? Because I'm under the influence of ayahuasca, so I really don't know if this is real. But I was 15 minutes. Finally, I said, okay, I will never forget this. And so I've got to go back to the ceremony. And I go back in and I sit down, and I've got jaguars coming full color, just roaring at me, and I'm looking down their throat. And a big anaconda comes from nowhere. And I realized that was scary. And I realized, I need to change the framework in my mind here, because I can't stop this. So the next time they would come, I would go, oh wow, you are so beautiful. You're so incredible. And then the anaconda is the same way. It was just the absolute beauty. So there was no fright. And later the ceremony dwindled down, and we all went to sleep. And the next morning I met with the shaman, curandero, ayahuasquero, and I told him what I'd seen. And he told me of a legend, a 1,000-year legend, that it was 500 years ago that the conquistadors came here and put the shamans into hiding in their medicines and their ways of healing. And now it's the beginning of the last 500 years of this 1,000-year legend.
Yeah.
And the legend is not only in the jungles, and he's in deep jungle giving me a legend like this, but also I've heard the legend in the Andes as well, is that the new shaman will be the gringo.
Wow.
Because we're the ones that have grown up with first world Occidental medicine, and we know what it's good for and what it is not good for.
That's
And
true.
we've come back to get the old ways of the past, but along with that, to use the ways of first world medicine too, and combine the two. And he explained that his children, his grandchildren, have no interest in learning his ways and his medicinal teachings, the plants, ayahuasca.